we've actually had it researched, and it has remarkable 33 to 50% of the DNA damage when tested on humans was reversed using Essiac tea in a clinical trial that was actually introduced in Santiago, Chile in October 2022.
You are listening to The Dr. Haley Show, the podcast dedicated to helping you optimize your health. Each episode, there will be an interview or a message to help you discover better health. We will be featuring health radicals on the show to bring new ideas to the table, as well as doubling down on key fundamentals to support you living your best life. Your host is no other than the founder of Haley Nutrition, Dr. Michael Haley.
This is the Dr. Haley Show podcast. I'm Dr. Michael Haley, your show host. And today, this podcast really is for everyone. We're going to be talking about cancer in it. You don't have to have cancer to benefit from this podcast. That is for sure. But before going into this, I want to make sure everyone understands there is no cure for cancer. What we're talking about today doesn't cure cancer. My aloe vera does not cure cancer. Chemotherapy doesn't cure cancer. Radiation doesn't cure cancer. Surgery does not cure cancer. There's no cure for cancer. As we talk about cancer, the only cure from cancer is from within. There's no outside in curing cancer. You can't take something to cure cancer. You can take something to support the life that is in you, and that can do miracles. So we're going to be talking about that when we talk about cancer. Bryan Paulhus is the co-owner of Genuine Essiac, a company based in Massachusetts that specializes in providing authentic Essiac tea. He's been involved with Essiac tea since 1986, and along with his wife, Gina Paulhus, took their business online in 2005, their mission to offer Essiac tea at affordable prices, continuing the work of, I don't know if I'm saying it right,
Reen Case and Dr. Charles Bruce.
Bryan's connection to Essiac tea began through a family introduction to Dr. Charles Bruce in the early 1980s. Dr. Bruce, who collaborated with Reen Case in researching Essiac from 1959 to 1967, entrusted the Paulhus family with the formula to make it widely available. Bryan and Gina have since dedicated themselves to distributing high-quality Essiac tea globally. In addition to managing Genuine Essiac, Bryan actively supports and funds ongoing research on Essiac tea, aiming to validate and expand its health benefits. Bryan, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You know, I have had the pleasure the past few days, for those that are listening, you cannot see this. I'm holding up right now to the camera this jug of Essiac tea. In fact, it's a half gallon, and I started off with a pack like this that I'm holding to the camera right now of Genuine Essiac. What I like about it, it's already measured in a 4-ounce packet, and I felt like I was making a pot full of coffee for a coffee enema or something like that when I warmed up a pot full of water and I dumped this in. And just like if you ever done that and you dumped your coffee in the water, it kind of bubbles up.
Same thing.
Yeah. And then I split it into 2 half-gallon jars. I've got one here at the office and one at the house. For me, and you can see the separation if you're looking at it on camera because there's a lot of parts in it. It's not like your typical tea where you would filter it, but you have all of the, I'll call it the dregs. So what I would do is just give it a little swirl or a good shake.
Very good.
And
you've already mastered it. Very good job.
My understanding is we want to be doing this about 3 times a day, so, and on an empty stomach. So I'm going to fill up my little,
cheers.
It kind of looks like my espresso.
Yeah.
This is a 3-ounce glass, so I might have to have a little bit more than what's in it, but.
There you go.
Now, very, very easy to do. And if I leave this sit, of course, it's going to end up settling. Now, Bryan, what I find interesting about this, and you and I, we have similar products.
We do. I
I'm
was
going to say
shocked.
they're,
When I got yours, that's what I love the most. I'm not kidding.
I'm going to say we have like the ugliest version of the product you can have that is actually the most beautiful.
You've
It's
stolen my words. Ugly is where the beauty is. And it really is something where if you see something, being processed, it should be very suspect because what you've done is taken the natural origin and processed out the texture. You've quite often combined it with other things to make the texture or preserve it on the shelf. And I saw what you sent. It was frozen. It was ugly. And I just went, wow, finally, because I'm not kidding. I'm not here I don't know you. I don't promote anything ever. I took your stuff. I've been taking aloe experimentally in the past, nothing before
okay.
this. And what I noticed was just this. I'm guys, I'm not paid to say this. It's the first thing that made my digestive system just do it without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
It went from beginning to end as smoothly as could be, and I was in shock that this form made the difference. And I've tried other aloes, so yeah, I'm kind
The
of
other neat thing about it is we're both into gut health.
yes.
Now,
Very-
what I meant by ugly is, and again, I'm holding this jar up to the camera, and if you really saw the particles that are floating around in it, meaning the plant parts are still in there. It's
Right.
not something that filters. And I think that's actually different than tea. I think that it's almost a little misleading because it's not necessarily a tea. It's more like
An ugly iced tea.
well, it's more like an herbal infusion. It's not
Yes.
just made from
Yes.
leaves, but there's plants that are very specific in a formula for a very tested and time proven purpose.
Well, if you can envision the origins of this, it's the Ojibwe Indians literally didn't bring out their strainers and strain it out. Their culture used everything, every part of the animal, the antlers, the tendons, you name it, the skin. Same was true. They thought of this as a gift from God to have medicinal herbs. So they used grinding stones to grind it up, to pulverize it, to ingest it, to again utilize the whole product. To this day, that hasn't been surpassed. It is the natural intake of the entire product. So you get everything in there. You get the entire benefit. You get the fiber, which goes through you, all of which is necessary. Basically, plants, as you know, are meant to be ingested, and any extraction of anything reduces the benefit. So ugly is good because that's inclusion. And so we give you unapologetically the ugliest version of Essiac tea so you can get all of the above. All you got to do is swish it around or stir it or mix it with fruit juice. Some people use natural fruit juice, like lemon juice is fantastic. But that's really, as you understand what you need to do to get maximum benefit, much like what you do, it is where the benefit is. So may not be for everyone. It may not be, but you're going to get people well at a larger rate using the whole product versus compromising and getting something that tastes like a soda. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Well said. And this is how I want it. It doesn't taste bad. Not at
No.
all. It's earthy, which
Yeah.
is what I would hope for. I don't want something that, tastes like Skittles.
Exactly. Yeah. True.
Well, let's go back. How did this all start? Essiac Tea.
Well, it started in 1922 when a nurse was doing her rounds at the hospital. Her name was Reen Case, and she came upon a patient who had healed many decades earlier, but had a lesion on her breast as the byproduct of a healed wound from a topical breast cancer that was, basically protruding out of the skin. Asked what it was, found out about these 4 herbs that were used when she exhausted conventional treatments, instead went to an Ojibwe medicine man. So it was successful. She said, okay, this sounds like a great idea. Let's give it a try. But she had no one to use it on. So she put the notes in a drawer. And in 1924, her aunt developed cancer. She used it. It was successful. And that, of course, was an explosion of excitability in her to start a clinic. And she did this for many years. She did it for decades. It was so successful that they petitioned the Canadian government, many, many thousands of people, in order to have this as a means of treatment in Canada. It failed by 3 votes. And that was the tragic aspect of it. So what happened now is she was left without any sort of outlet. It was kind of overseen by the government. So she skipped out of town, basically. She went to the United States right down the road from us in 1959 and took that original formula and met with a man who taught me how to make this. That was President Kennedy's personal physician. He had a massive interest in herbal medicine. So it was the perfect pairing. They established what each herb did individually, thresholds of safety, no side effects and everything. Then the combination of herbs was really assessed for its ability to address cancer. And what they did there was use the results as a baseline to continue research, because as good as it was, there was room for improvement. 18 different physicians worked on this with them. And they would do trials with different herbs. When one showed some potential, they put it in the formula. They try another one, put it in the formula, adjust, tinker for optimal levels. Eventually, what they did after 8 years was found a formula that was so effective. But the first company that's ever dealt with cancer, say what you want, but we actually give your money back after 6 months if you use this as directed and you don't see anything you use to measure your cancer, whether it be test scores, whether it be size of your tumor, anything. We give it back. So people are preying on the needy, and we want it to be just the opposite. We made it impossible to prey on the needy. And it's because, not that, they're like, that's really nice of you. And I say, it's not nice of me. It's a reflection of what preceded me when I got this formula. I worked with Dr. Bruce starting in 1986. So it's not a tough thing to do when you've got something this good, to stand behind it. And this was his recommendation as well, to do things like this, because just getting in people's hands, if they have a financial issue, for example, he was very emphatic about affordability and access. So if people have a desperate financial situation, we have people who are limited income with Social Security. He literally said, if they don't have it, give it to them. Yeah. And it sounded like the business, your perception as a business person would have been, okay, this is the dumbest idea ever. But as a humanitarian, which he was, he says, it's actually both. It's both going to be good for you and for them, because as good as we say it is, and word of mouth is a massive driver of where this will go. And he was right. Don't get greedy. Just get it out to people. And we've done it ever since.
Yeah. Now, with that, it does sound like almost like a cure for cancer. And it doesn't, when I say there's no cure for cancer, people with cancer get cured all the time.
They do.
I think the important thing to distinguish here is when it comes to something like cancer, there's typically a cause.
Yes.
And there's things that you can take to strengthen your body to fight cancer. And when it's fighting the cancer faster than the cancer is growing, you're cancer free.
That's right.
But I don't ever want to tell people to take this to cure cancer without looking at the whole life approach.
Just look at the benefit. That's all we're saying.
What I'm saying is if you have cancer, you want to make more changes than just taking something. See, if I just say I'm going to take this because I have cancer and that's it now, and I'm trusting in this, now I'm not changing anything. So if I stop this, if let's say this actually gets my body working like it's supposed to, and then I stop this, well, I haven't changed my life, so the cancer is going to come back.
Well, it's going to sound strange. I have to address this.
Okay.
I'm not saying it will for everyone. I'm not saying this is just what we saw. My father was really good at drinking. As a matter of fact, he was an expert. He drank all day hard. As a result, what he ate was what was at the bar: pickled eggs, never had vegetables. He developed cancer. I remember on July 21st of 2003, because we're going into the Red Sox game, and instead we got a call from him. He had broken his neck falling down the stairs drunk. We brought him to the hospital. Then they said, "How did you get in here? Your neck is broken." They brought him into Boston. In the neck evaluation, they found lung cancer. But he had that, as you can imagine, a drunk's mentality towards health. And so when they found out about this, initially it was get chemotherapy and treat this. And so he decided, surprisingly, to try the chemotherapy was his initial decision. In spite of Essiac being in our family, he was so spiteful for having been divorced from my mother. My mother and I did this together for years, that he wouldn't accept it because the pathway was through his ex-wife. So thank goodness he had blood clots that developed the next day and he couldn't do chemotherapy. So he eventually, inevitably, had the discussion with me. I'm like, "Dad, you're dirt poor. It's not, obviously, I'm not going after your will. It's because I love you and I want you to, this has the best potential." So he did this by May of 2004. He was cancer-free and was too stubborn, in spite of exactly what I agree with you wholeheartedly. Your likelihood goes up so great if you continue to do everything healthy. My father was the outlier, evidently, because he did it in spite of no changes. But yes, you have an internal network that has to be enhanced as much as possible. So in spite of his foolish ways, he still accomplished his goal and stayed cancer-free for another 8 years. He died of COPD. But healthy changes, only a fool wouldn't make healthy changes. It's part of hedging in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not changing is really the medical model. I hate to say it. Medical doctors treat symptoms and diseases. They don't treat people. They treat symptoms and diseases with drugs, radiation, surgery, chemotherapy. They're treating the symptoms. They're in the business of quenching the symptom.
Yes.
And if the symptom is cancer, well, let's kill it. We're not addressing the cause, which could be a lack of nutrients.
Yes.
It could be emotional baggage. It could be a lot of stuff. It could be environmental toxins. I work in a chemical factory and I'm breathing this stuff in all day long. I'm eating food that's filled with chemicals. And I could take the medical approach and say, I'm just going to have this, or I could make lots of changes that are going to radically improve my life.
You enjoying the show thus far? One of the many health secrets that we have covered on the show is all around aloe vera, specifically drinking raw aloe vera. Our aloe vera has helped our customers effectively heal their gut, increase their intestine health, lower inflammation in the body, eliminate and/or decrease acid reflux, have glowing skin and hair, and so much more. Now, as a frequent member of our audience, you will be exposed to exclusive specials and coupon codes for the awesome products manufactured by Haley Nutrition. That's right, for simply being awesome and tuning in. You can get a mini discount to help you optimize and better your health. To see how we can help and support you on your health journey, tune into the episodes and listen for coupon codes that you can use at www.haleynutrition.com before you make your orders of raw aloe vera. Once again, it's www.haleynutrition.com. Now, back to the show.
What we found is the scale is very varied between those who think that it is one solution versus those who are almost overkill with oversupplementation to the degree of neurotic and everything in between. But by and large, most people make reasonable, healthy changes. Most people do, but not all.
Oddly, I don't consider something like this as supplementation. I'm holding up this jar of Essiac tea again. It's more like herbal food. And we all, participate in herbology in some way. A lot of us wake up to a cup of coffee, and that's, in a sense, practicing herbology.
You've got to be kidding me.
But there's different levels of herbology. And this is clearly
I want to be away from the
level.
podcast, but you nailed it. And that's exactly right. We have the influence of things that actually do what and these are by God's design. I grew up in a family that had zero addressing of religion. I literally, the first time I heard that this was God's design for any sort of herbal medicine or anything like that or treatment, I went, what do you mean? I was that ignorant and naive, and I was in my early 20s. But this is sense shaped. These plants were provided. We are the ones that are just fortunate enough to have these cultivated and utilized. But I didn't create these. We are fortunate to have a sequence of events that lands on our laps, and we continue this. But these herbs are doing things that we're just now understanding. And through our research we've done recently, we're seeing the evidence, validated. And they are surprising a lot of people, not us, we expect it. But when we get the research back, even the scientists are going, wow, this stuff is really doing extraordinary things.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's talk about some of the competitors for a minute. And for people listening, especially if you're familiar with our aloe vera, a lot of my listening audience came to this podcast from the aloe vera first. You probably know there's other brands that are out there. And being a little humorous, I've often joked and said, aloe vera is kind of like intimacy. Even when it's bad, it's still pretty good.
Great line.
There's some, yeah, you can use that probably about Essiac, meaning
it applies so perfectly, yes.
But there's a definite difference. Earlier today, I actually put a video out showing a difference between what I would consider the most filtered aloe vera and ours. And the most filtered one, even on their website, and I pulled up a clip from the Internet Archive where they said, this doesn't have mucopolysaccharides in it. Or they use the word polysaccharides. It was George's aloe. And it doesn't mean that you can't benefit from George's, but you could probably put a tablespoon of our aloe into a whole gallon of water, and that viscosity from that whole gallon of water with a tablespoon of aloe would probably be heavier than George's aloe.
Different. Exactly. And having consumed your stuff, I'm sure of it.
Yes. So there's other Essiac teas out there, I'm sure, that are great.
Oh yeah.
But you're not going to have the solids or...
I will put this in a hierarchy.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll put it in a hierarchy. The original formula was 4 herbs. As I mentioned, the testing is something that increased the effectiveness of this pretty significantly. So what's happened is the people that have been surpassed, that have the 4 herb formula rights, what they do is they send out these warnings that be careful if you don't see this trademark, which, by the way, we now have. The long story is we've attained this, but they had this trademark aspect in which they'd say be careful. They had the trademark for the outdated formula. So it'd be like having, relatively speaking, a trademark for a 1930s car. It's not as efficient, it's not as fast, but it's the original. So they would do warning campaigns. Be careful. If you don't see this, then it's not the original formula. Therefore, come back to us and spend 10 times as much. And so it worked like a charm, because when you put this in the form of a warning, it seems as you're perceiving or inferring from this that, oh my gosh, I have to go back to the old stuff. So there is a company that sells something like mine. They have the advanced formula. They sell 2 versions. They sell a powdered version, which includes the herbs. And I tell it like it is. It's every bit as good as mine. It's called Floor Essence. They're as good as mine. Same origin as my company. It started out before my company from Dr. Bruce. The issue started when they started to do things. They did a second line, which became more dominant in their distribution, and they started extracting out the herbs because they're perishable. And you know about perishability, and I do too, because it's part of our business model to keep fresh herbs, get them there in time. Well, these outlets that were being served by the company needed to have shelf life considerations. So against the wishes of Dr. Bruce, they started doing this. And this drove the price up. And so now you had accessibility issues and integrity issues combined because they changed it. And so now, around 1992 was when they had broken ties, and we were seen as the next generation to keep this affordable, about $1 a day, and never compromise the ugly truth of how to administer this. And we've done it ever since as a result of the commercializing. Now, the Ojibwe Indians said that the white man would compromise the integrity for profit, and it turned out to be true. But
Yeah.
if you were to get today's version of fluorescence in powdered form, it would cost you literally 10 times as much, but it's every bit as good as mine. So there is a company out there producing something that's as good as mine. That's just the whole truth in context. But
Yeah. And when you say as good of, as you're talking about as far as the benefits, yet you're going to pay more for it.
yeah, but the truth of the matter is, say you're in a bind. If you want to get there,
Okay.
it's fine. I'm here to tell the entirety of this. Most people are surprised when I disclose the existence of this. So if they're at a health food store and they're in a bind or on traveling and they opt for that, fine, go ahead. I'm not here to get every penny. I'm here to get every bit of education to everyone. The herb formula is clinically proven to be the best. So in spite of the use of words like original and stuff like that, it's been clinically proven to be less effective than the advanced one, which took 8 years of development. And as I said, Dr. Bruce was spearheading a team of physicians and doing that for 8 years, and they worked pretty hard to get here. So,
It would only make sense too that it's possible it could evolve, and you might say, "Hey, we found that when we add this someday, it's even better."
I am open to everything. I don't pretend to know it all, and that's where I think weak-minded people are, because I'm always looking for something. Just talking about what you have, I was surprised. Let me give a stupid story about stupid activity by me. I live a healthy life. I eat well. I went to Nevada for a few weeks. In that time, I didn't bring my Essiac tea. Digestively, it's what I use to regulate. And what I noticed was when I came back, I didn't continue because that flow of ignorance threw me. Sometimes I just skip. Sometimes I'll be on for 2 years straight. Sometimes I miss a month or so. It's just semi-consistent. I came back. My friend from California who likes whiskey and cigars and steak came by. So now I'm drinking whiskey. I'm only having one. I'm not like an alcoholic here, but that's enough for me to upset my stomach. I smoke maybe 2 cigars a year. I smoked 3 in 2 days. Acid indigestion came on. Like, so then we get your stuff. And I'm thinking I'm going to heal it with my stuff, but your stuff was in the refrigerator and intrigued me. And I took it. And it was only a trace, the beginning of acid. It wasn't like this massive issue, but it was like a 2 or 3 on the scale. Like, And I had this and I went, what does this do? I had no idea. But I got my answer before I looked into it. And that's why I'm saying, okay, I got what this does. It has to have some soothing digestive aspect and digestive processing. But I love the fact that I could feel the chunks of the aloe there and no one did anything to it. And that's when I said, this will probably help. And the little drop at the end, that looks like slime and then comes up and then comes back down. I went, I've never seen that with aloe vera. It usually pours out like liquid. Yeah. And I went, because I know we have something called slippery elm that has a similar aspect to it. It's slimy. People are like, why is it so slimy? It's like, and what this does is digestively cleans, soothes. It has massive properties, diverse properties. So when I saw that little drip, I went, I think we have something here. And we have very similar products. It's, they achieve essentially the same type of internal soothing and detoxing.
That's interesting. I'll have to look the slippery elm up and see what the slimy component is. It might be similar to that from aloe vera, like a mucopolysaccharide.
It's called mucilage. Yeah, it's mucilage, and so you'll see that for what it's worth. But it's using lozenges and cough drops and cough medicine because of that very reason. So if you look and think, whether it be Essiac or aloe vera, you think, well, what are these origins? How can this stuff work? Well, you don't realize they take it, they process the slippery elm into lozenges. So you're already taking it. They take aloe vera and have certain processes for, I believe that it's used for chemotherapy. In many cases, people use it or radiation after certain aspects of burns and stuff like that. I don't know a lot, but I think it was first used as a soothing topical thing. So you're going to find a lot of processing of things, because when you process it, you take the natural origin, you control it, you could control the pricing, and you just have the natural version.
Yeah. The more it's processed, the more shelf stable it is, and you increase your profits. Funny, going back to when I had compared these two brands of aloe,
Yeah.
we're actually the only two brands that have nothing added,
Right.
meaning no preservatives.
Nothing.
And
I got it
the only
frozen.
way, there's two ways to do that. You either freeze it, or you take out all of the nutrition that would spoil.
Right. Got it.
Those are kind of the options.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very, very different product, and it's kind of like how I feel about yours. It's all in here. This is real. It's as real as it gets. When we are looking at the ingredients, so I understand there's 8 ingredients now.
Yes.
4 originally. The original are the burdock root, the sheep sorrel, which I've never heard of that before, the slippery elm bark, and the Turkish rhubarb root.
Right.
Now there's added to that blessed thistle, kelp, red clover, and watercress.
Right.
I think it's neat. And for anyone listening, look those ingredients up.
Yeah.
It makes sense when you see what they're primarily used for. And you see a lot of immune support and digestive health.
Yes.
Digestive support, rather. And, it's very, very cool. That's where your immune system is.
Yes, I mean, so basically addressing the immune system resides primarily in the bloodstream. And the best way of cleaning out the bloodstream is to clean toxins from the body. The biggest problem is toxins adhere to the digestive tract. And you're going to find that any product that they can really get rid of the toxins can facilitate cleaner blood. But there's an aspect of this that people don't realize, is that even the best really aggressive toxins, or toxin removers or detoxes, there's an issue because you can't sustain them over time, because they dehydrate, they cause headaches, they cause inconvenience of going to the bathroom all the time. Essiac, even though the first few days you may go more frequently, it's very short-lived. About 25% of the people experience more visits to the bathroom. It's to be expected because it's a detox. But what this is doing, instead of just plowing through you, it's a more methodical approach to do it over time. And what you'll find is that the bulk amount that most detoxes remove is very easy. I use the analogy of scrambled eggs. I get the spatula. I get 95% of those eggs out. But if I want a clean pan, which is essentially equated to a clean intestinal tract, I have to work on that last 5%. It takes time. I have to get steel wool. I got to clean it, soak it. Essentially what this is a moderate, achievable thing that you can sustain for months. And about 4.5 months into the process, you complete a process of a lifetime of toxic buildup, including that last thin layer being removed. Now, when you have a pristine exchange at the intestinal level, what you have is no more introduction of this, almost like a sludge of toxins that goes into the bloodstream. And, you're producing new blood. So now, as God designed, you have a pristine bloodstream in which the immune response is designed to work in. It's how God designed it. So you're looking at something that thrives in its cleanliness. So, this will take initially the bulk stuff right out of you. But when you get to that last level, nutrients are absorbed, much like what you have. That strengthens the constitution against cancer, but also that trickling constant of the toxins. What that does is those toxins, it's like your bloodstream is like a stream. Those toxins have to eventually flow somewhere. And where they eventually get stuck is in a gland, an organ. And when it condenses enough, the interesting fact about this was Dr. Bruce was a revolutionary. He realized that when something gets enough accumulation, it'll cause a tumor to be grown. But initially, we had so little introduction of toxins, tumors were beneficial because they would pop up in very minute sizes in a relatively clean bloodstream. And then these tumors would emit this chemical signaling, which would basically signal to the white blood cells, here I am, come get me, invade me, and get rid of this stuff. And so you pass it naturally. But what's happened in recent, generations is we're eating unlike any other generations. So what happens now is you get a toxic element, body identifies it, builds a little tumor. Before that tumor can do the chemical signaling and complete the process, another layer of sludge of toxins encases it like an eggshell, cuts off all signaling, which is critical to getting rid of it. It also contributes to more increase in the size of the tumor, keeps doing it. And you get this increased size because it never has a chance to signal and release as soon as it's encased. So the simple process is to clean out the intestines, to clean out the blood. When you produce clean blood and you slowly remove all introduction of toxins, it runs clean. The outer layer around a tumor dissipates over time in a clean bloodstream. And another amazing aspect is that outer layer produces a byproduct that's similar to hydrogen peroxide, and it creates a haze around the tumor, or essentially a microenvironment in which the defense cells of the tumor live. So if you can dissipate that, you've taken all resistance. So now fast forward, clean intestinal walls, nutrient absorption's maximized, the immune response is getting the signals. It's also going and traveling through the bloodstream without the interference of toxins on the way there, which also would have drained the potential, gets access directly to the tumor and breaks it up as God designed. And we are not aware of this amazing potential. Like I say, we can all acknowledge we create the miracle of lives with our bodies, but just as instilled in our bodies is the preservation of life. We just haven't, in recent generations, been able to realize that because we've been so compromised. So it's essentially a cleanse to completion that does this. And
Yeah, we've gotten away from herbology,
yeah,
nutrient dense foods, even.
I would actually say we've kind of combined. We've got people like yourself who are maintaining the integrity. Every single exchange, whether it be political, herbs, any investment, has people integrity and those without. And I see the people that are maintaining the integrity. The problem is, unfortunately, commercial interests quite often overrule any sort of integrity, and some people stay put. Some people try things that are unconventional. Some people ship aloe frozen to ensure they're getting it there in time and do it the right way. And when I go through the store and I've taken, these other ones that are like syrup, and I got nothing. The fact of the matter is, you have to be very selective and see what your source is. And what you'll see is when your source is doing certain things, instead of using fear mongering, using one particular way to tell anyone that's a con man from a real one is when they administer something, are they doing something that lessens the appeal to the layperson? Are they going away from wonderful taste and texture? Because what con man in their right mind would sell something that looks ugly, is goopy, and think about this. There must be only one rational answer for someone to do that. And it's they maintain the integrity to go against the flow, to not commercialize it, because this is the means of doing it and getting results. So when you see something that is so beautifully, transformed into your generic drink or capsule or something, be suspect, because the natural form is how God intended, and it does not change, whether it's your stuff or my stuff. And so we keep getting better results than people that encapsulate it, that extract out the herbs, and we keep growing as they diminish and fall off. because they can only sustain their first sales hit. They have no referrals because they have no results. You're looking to grow exponentially through actual success. So yeah, you want to know who's doing it right? Look at someone that's stupid enough to send you something ugly because you know they're going against the grain.
It is somewhat business foolishness, but somehow God provides
Yeah,
continuously, and we're doing our end, and people are getting well, and
yeah.
it's a beautiful thing. As a thank you for tuning into the Dr. Haley Show podcast, I have a special coupon code that can be used throughout the month of November 2025. Get $10 off your purchase of $100 or more at HaleyNutrition.com. The coupon code is FREEDOM. That's FREEDOM. And as usual, you can even use this coupon with on sale and already discounted bundled items. Enjoy the rest of the podcast. How long have some of your customers been with you?
Oh, 40 years. Yeah. I mean, I
Isn't that the
started,
coolest?
yeah, I mean, I started, 1986. So I'm 60 now. So I've seen people. Listen, I want to paint this as accurately as possible. There are time elements that come into play because just like with a headache, when you need 25 minutes for the aspirin to kick in, some people won't have that 4.5 to 6 months. So you start getting to get that gray area. Will they respond quick enough? Some people are quick responders, some aren't. So within the first 6 months after a television show that we had done in 1992, we assessed all the people we distributed to. Dr. Bruce nailed it. He's like, you're going to see people that are simply coming to us so late that they won't make it. But he mentioned that as you progress towards 6 months, you'll see that failure dramatically diminish. Not that it works even after 6 months every time, but you'll see it so dramatically diminish you won't believe the consistency. So what we have is something that produces, improvement at a degree that is relative to expectations of time to let it work. So I've had heartache. I've had people not make it. But I first got involved thinking, would I have the capacity to sit in at a young age and address these people? I'm like, who am I? But Dr.
Yeah.
Bruce I basically instilled the knowledge that it was still the best choice. You'll see that. And having the comfort of not having the 100% solution, but as close to it as anyone can offer is where you'll find your comfort. Just frame it, the challenges, the expectations, and people accept it, on face value. And I've done that, whether it be another company's quality or whether it be an issue with a particular type of cancer being problematic for them. I don't want to sell, fluff and rainbows. I want to project the reality of this for people. So if you do that, you can sit comfortably there and know you're offering the best solution there is. But it's primarily a great experience, but not without moments.
Yeah. Most people will find their cancer on time and they have time to
Yeah.
make changes.
Yes.
But if you think about it, if you see cancer as something that's, I'm using my hands to show growing and getting bigger, the first
Right.
thing is to slow down the growth, and then, eventually you
Exactly.
stall it, and then you start reversing it.
You're the first person to interview me and talk about that. Cancer has momentum. It's similar. I use the aspirin reference. Your headache may have momentum in the wrong direction until it gets the aspirin's given time to get in, circulate, and do what it's supposed to do. You might have, because of bad momentum, a worse headache 10 minutes into taking aspirin. But from your frame of reference, hey, this is going to work in 25 minutes. Those who are unfamiliar with Essiac, for example, the initial stages is that momentum. It takes a while for this to get to the cleansing aspect, the threshold, to then reverse the tide.
Right.
And so they'll say, I'm worse a month later, 2 months later. Not giving it, we suggest 4.5 to 6 months is the greatest cluster improvement. And it's their lives, and I understand the impatience, but We try to send out the information to educate them so they can be at ease to the highest degree that they can, not complete ease, but the majority of people see it for what it is and wait, and the majority of people see results. So, but momentum is a thing. It's not like a painkiller that kicks in like an opium that 2 seconds later. This is more like aspirin.
Yeah.
Slow, reverse momentum, takes time.
There's also a learning curve when it comes to changing your diet, for instance, or
Yes.
we have to teach people how to eat again. And
Yeah.
it's not easy to just turn on a dime. And admittedly, the first day I had this, I didn't have 3 servings. I had 1.
Right.
And then I think by the second day, I was locked in on 3. But, there's a learning curve.
Oh, isn't that the truth? And doing it, what you did was you started with dipping your toes in the water. And that shows a proven exchange in which, hey, it was okay. Maybe I could dip my toe in tomorrow. Maybe I could do it 3 times. So yeah, I always
Well,
tell people to do
actually,
2 little steps.
Bryan, I had to learn how to leave a window where I didn't just eat,
Yeah.
or because
Yeah.
you're timing it on an empty stomach, and
Right.
I never really thought about that. When is my
Right.
stomach empty? I had to
Yeah.
figure it out.
It's a learning curve, and so many aspects of what I talk about are trending in the right direction without perfect immediate adjustment. Some people are obsessive types and they change overnight, but the majority of people in change have achievable exchanges followed by challenges, then upgrades through adjusting to those challenges, basically improvement with a semi-volatile uptick. And I think that's just human. It's relearning how to eat, which is one of our primary exchanges every day. It's tough to learn how to eat all over again.
Hey, where'd the name Essiac come from?
The original nurse, her name was Case, a Canadian name, Caisse. She just spells it backwards, Essiac. And that's it. Sounds like it's got some sort of origin from some mystical language, but it's just backwards.
All right, so we find you at genuineessiac.com. So it's genuine, and then
Yes.
Essiac, ESSIAC.com. I'll make sure there's a link in the description here, of course. And I know that you made a coupon code. I forget what it is, but I'll make sure it's in the notes. And I
Okay.
thank you for
Yeah.
doing that for our
The
for
brains
our
of the
audience.
operation. My wife did that, so she'll have that available for you.
Yeah, and it wasn't the typical DRHALEY. It's a different one, and that's okay because it'll be in the show notes.
Okay.
Let's see. There's is there anything that I should have asked that's really important to making this all work or helping people understand it?
Yeah. When you get the content, read it, because the things that could be very pivotal in you doing this correctly, whether it be understanding what it constitutes to have an empty stomach, because you can drink natural fruit juice in the time that you in water, obviously, during that time. So it's not like you're abstaining totally. There are certain aspects of this. Another thing is that we've actually had it researched, and it has remarkable 33 to 50% of the DNA damage when tested on humans was reversed using Essiac Tea in a clinical trial that was actually introduced in Santiago, Chile in October 2022. And so we're looking to further the research, but the DNA reversal for this is remarkable to the point where, we knew it would be good. We just didn't know it would be that good till they got the study findings. So it seems to repair at a level like very few other things can do.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have associated cancer with a
DNA breakdown. Yeah. And this
yeah.
was repairing. It's literally found. I knew we'd find good because after this many years, I mean, you'd be throwing money at something that you think would fail. That makes no sense. When I was contacted, I had no interest in research because there are limitations in what you can actually do in this country. Long story short, there's a law that was passed in 1994 that restricts certain aspects of claims and so on, which is why We've basically used our intro here to explain what this is. And so this is something that I had no interest until 2018 when I was contacted by someone who was interested in doing research. I sent it out. Preliminary studies were on mice. I didn't think anything of it till 2019 when he called me up. He's like, "You're not going to believe what we're finding. We're trying to radiate mice to grow tumors and get them sick, and they're actually much healthier than the mice that are just drinking water with no exposure to radiation." So we went to a conference in Canada that year, the Canadian Cancer Research Conference in November of 2019. That really led the interest of other people in other areas to do the studies. We have the biggest research group in South America doing this, and they took X-ray technicians who have low-dose radiation exposure over time, which is actually the worst. It's better to get a high flash of radiation than a low dose over time. So they are subjected to a lot of DNA damage. We tested their blood for a year, simply introduced Essiac. Believe it or not, I don't believe they took it even 3 times a day. I think they took it twice a day, even at that substandard doses, which made me put into question how effective it would be. They came back with everyone within 33 to 50%, DNA repair. And I've seen ridiculous things. This is going to sound crazy. I've seen gray hair regrow. We have this on my Facebook group. It's Genuine Essiac users. It's on Facebook. Be careful. There's all sorts of Facebook Essiac things out there. But Genuine Essiac users is our group. And there's one post. If you just look up gray hair in the search magnifying glass, you'll see a guy previously with gray hair with dark hair. And you'll see the comments below of our customers. So DNA repair goes much more so to taking the damage done even at the follicles and changing that. I have a brother 10 months older than me that's completely gray. That doesn't touch Essiac tea. I've got hints of it, but what the heck? I'm getting older. I gotta accept it. So there you go.
I'm excited. I'm going to be drinking my Essiac for several months for sure. And I'll be keeping an eye here. I'm in my late 50s, and sure enough, the gray's coming in. It'd be great if I could slow it down or even reverse it.
3 times a day.
That would be amazing.
Yep.
Exciting stuff. Bryan, I want to thank you, man. This has been eye-opening for me. I'm excited. I'm encouraged. I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep on going with mine. I see no reason not to. It's one of those things that you can obviously consume daily forever without side effects and only benefits. Why wouldn't I?
Right. No side effects. You can use it with anything. The internet being what it is, you'll have misinformation campaigns. You'll have all sorts of things. The first thing that you have to know is that everything was tested for thresholds that would cause any sort of problems, whether it be side effects or interactive issues, anything. You can use this with anything with no issue at all. So I want to clarify that for anything that you may read online, because
what if I wanted to double up? What if I wanted to do, instead of 3 ounces 3 times a day, what if I wanted to do 6 ounces 3 times a day?
It's done quite often. It's kind of the highest aggressive thing for people in stage 4. After 6 ounces, you get to diminishing returns, so there's no real benefit. So we do have a protocol that goes up to 6 ounces and really critical. Say you're calling your loved one has 2 months to live. We say, it's best, but you work up to that because of the detox aspect. For about a week, you take it at 3 ounces and then progress according to your response to that up to 6 ounces. Some people go right up to 6 ounces. Some people progress 4 ounces 2 days later, 5 ounces 2 days. It's just really relative to your response. But I don't even measure it. I just suck it down. So
along those lines, do people have detox reactions?
The only thing isn't a detox in the sense of it is supposed to clean your intestines. So when it does, usually when there's a response of diarrhea to anything, it's because of a digestive issue that has toxins present. But the fact is, it's usually like a virus. So you're sick, essentially. But you can take Essiac when relatively healthy and you have diarrhea, but you're conditioned to think, oh, this must be a bad thing I'm responding to. It's actually healthy diarrhea because this one produces benefit in that flush. you're just getting your initial flush.
Hmm.
It subsides, you go back to regularity, you'll not start to notice regularity goes. So the exchange is the passageway to regularity, is a brief moment of getting that initial flush out. And about 25% of people have that. It's not considered a side effect because side effects are just useless, in every way. They're suffering. This is more a mild inconvenience to go to the bathroom more frequently. No significant, moderate to minimal digestive. You can feel things stirring up, but nothing extreme, nothing, to that degree. And it just gets rid of everything in a few days and then you go back to normal. And that's only about 25% of people, but it is a possibility. Most people have an exchange in which they get to regularity more gradually over time.
Okay. Good. For me, I haven't noticed any change in that area, but
That's where you would be, right?
things have
The
been very
majority.
normal for me, and I
Right.
probably live a life mostly of detox.
That's another thing I was going to address. You'll see the most significant need has the most significant response. And if you're healthy, it'll be a more moderate thing over time. This will take you through a more gradual progression than, say, someone severely junk food addicted and so on. So, yeah.
Great. Do you have a YouTube channel for Genuine Essiac or Instagram,
Yeah.
or what's the
Yes.
best place to go?
Yeah. Genuine Essiac. We have Instagram. We have Facebook, which is Genuine Essiac Users. Geez, we have TikTok.
Where would you say is the most educational channel for someone if they want to see like video content?
If you're going to look at the video content, I would look at the YouTube channel. And also, this is going to be something I'm sure we'll use in the Genuine Essiac Users group on Facebook, because people respond to this really strongly. We had another one really strongly. They need to know more. They're being introduced on the fly. So we're getting new people, like new students every day. So we intermittently will introduce something, and that's the education. So this is educational for them. You're helping to spread the word. Basically, it's a synergistic thing for both of us.
All right, awesome. If I find the content places, I'll make sure there's links in the description, not only to your website, but to
I
your
will talk
social
to my
media
wife
channels.
about that too, so we can inform you of where to look. I want to make sure people, can have access to it. So we'll take care of that. She's the know-how. I'm just the guy that talks. So there you go.
Good stuff. Hey, Bryan, thanks so much. This was
Thank
great.
you. Very much appreciated. I'll be in touch soon. I got to place another order.
And me too.
Okay. Thank you much.
I hope you enjoyed that episode today on The Dr. Haley Show. Make sure to hit subscribe on whichever platform you are listening to this. If this episode made you think of someone, go ahead, take a screenshot, and share this exact episode with them. You can catch the show notes for this episode on www.drhaley.com. If you want to geek out with Dr. Michael Haley on other radical health topics, be sure to check out his YouTube channel, where he posts exclusive video content. All the details are at www.drhaley.com, and we can't wait to hang out with you on the next episode.